he never said anything, and the fact that he never questioned what I was asking him about, never said, I don't know what you're talking about. I would never hurt Steve, but he just stood there, dead silent, just kept staring at me, and there wasn't anything about, whoa, let's talk. I have no idea what you're talking about. So that to me was the confirmation. But he knew exactly, and he just stood there and stared at me, and after I said my little piece, he just turned around and walked away. Steve came home for a visit, didn't come home a lot, kind of stayed away, but he came home for a visit, and we were at the bowling alley, and had just been talking about things, and, that's when he told me he was gay, and that's when I asked him the question about what was your first sexual experience, and that's when he said it was with Dennis Hastert. And, I just stopped in my tracks. I was stunned. Just, I thought maybe he was joking, but it wasn't a joke. I think that was part of the whole Hastert's gameplay, was that here was a young man. And I've since learned that there, in that era, in Steve's class, there were quite a few young men that were gay. And at that time, you didn't talk about it. So I kind of think that was one way that he perpetrated, and that he kind of preyed on these boys because they weren't going to say anything, that they were dealing with, their own sexual identity. And then this was Hastert, who was powerful, and I'm sure did things for them. All those things that were important to you when you were in high school, and you needed some guidance, and we didn't have any, so he became that person. If Steve had a problem, he became that person that he went to. So then you mix all that up with the sexual orientation and someone acknowledging someone being gay, because he was, but then he's also your teacher, and he took an oath that said, I'm here for the students. I'm here to help children. I'm not here to abuse them and cause them lifelong problems. When he knew that Hastert was around, I was in Champaign for the 76 wrestling tournament, which is when Yorkville took state. And Steve was there going to school at the time. And he came and picked me up, and we had lunch, and then I remember saying, Steve, why don't you come in? Mr. Hastert's here. I'm sure he'd love to see you. And he was just, no, I am not going to do that. And at the time it struck me really odd, but he never, and the other thing that I've thought about too is that Mr. Hastert never asked me about Steve. He was very, very standoffish towards me, and he never said, how's Steve doing? What's Steve up to these days? I asked him, I said, why didn't you tell me sooner? And he was like, I'm not going to put that on you while you're going to high school. He was actually my teacher. I think I took, sociology or some government or something from him. So he was like, I wasn't going to put you in that position. You would go into Yorkville, every entrance into Yorkville, there used to be a big sign that said home of Dennis Hastert. And, so right away, I would be defensive the minute I would come to town. And the level of respect that he got, and he did a lot of good things, which yes, he did, but it wasn't because he's a good person. It was because he was manipulative and was covering his tracks, and was trying. To this day, there's people that are still, he might have molested kids and blah blah blah, but he's done such good for us. Now, would you say that about somebody that murdered 5 people? It's like there's a disconnect between what he's done and the good old boy that people in Yorkville see him as, and they always will. And I can't change that. That's that's up to them to figure it out. One of the other main times that just was really, really hard was when the president would do the State of the Union address. And I'm not like a real political person, but I would try to listen and stuff. And there was him sitting there as second in line to the presidency. And some days I'd just cry, some days I'd scream. It was just so unfair. And then there was the bottom line is that no one would ever believe me. No one was ever going to believe this. I don't think any sentence that he gets, is justice. I don't think there will be justice as far as the court system, but the fact that the truth is out and the charade is up and, his true character has been exposed, that I can take, that I'm okay with. He was one of the few people in my life that I trusted, that understood what we had gone through together as far as growing up. I knew he really loved me and he really cared about me. And we had that connection that I miss. And I just really looked up to him and just really respected him, and in the same way felt just that he just, what happened, he just didn't deserve it.